So notice this relationship of awakened attention to change. So it's beyond the thinking process. When you think about it, you'll never get it. You can get the idea. You might think you understand because you understand the words that I'm saying. But to really recognize this, realize awareness is like this, and trusting it, learning to rest in it, to surrender, to relax into the deathless of awareness, in which then the relationship to the changing conditions of birth and death, you're no longer identifying with death, in other words. Like when you're identified with your body, you're identifying with death. If you want permanent happiness for the rest of your life and security through your body and your desires, you're going to be terribly disappointed because it's not possible. The body, there's no way, how many people have tried to seek eternal youth? The idea of finding the fountain of youth, where you'll just stay, what is the age that everybody would like to be? 22, 23, something, 16? Whatever age you like to. I wouldn't want to be 16 again. I was miserable at 16, but maybe not older than 25 anyway. If I could find the fountain of youth at 20, but I didn't. Or, to maybe cosmetic surgery, or manipulating the genes and chromosomes of your body, or have kind of different transplants, modern science and medical science, and that, do all kinds of experiments to try to keep the illusion of having a young body. But that's the kind of like keep trying to repair the old things, isn't it? Like trying to keep a roof that is too old and leaks, trying to keep repairing it, make it new all the time. So the recognizing this agingness of the body, then this isn't depressing, because you're not the body. The body is what was born, and it's like this right now. How many of you are content with your body the way it is right now, and would like it to be like this for eternity? And look at my body, 73-year-old body. Have to live with this body for eternity is not a particularly wonderful option in life. But so it's the body its nature is to grow old, and then aging has its a kind of packing up, and that's what it's supposed to do. That's fine, because looking at it, observing it from the deathless, from awareness, from sati sampajanya, from pure consciousness, then it's all right. It's not self, it's no longer, you can allow it to be the way it is. It's not judged as good, bad, right or wrong. It's just like this. And more you begin to rest or seek your refuge or trust or relax into the deathless, or mindfulness. Mindfulness and wisdom. So this the Buddha pointed to. Wisdom comes from mindfulness, not from university lectures. we can see in our own modern society, we've developed intelligence, then manipulation of conditioned phenomena. So, we have this Frankenstein story, where you create this, out of curiosity, you create this monster that ends up chasing you. It's going to destroy. So that's what seems to be happening now. Out of our cleverness, manipulating conditions, the conditioned world, out of curiosity, without wisdom involved in it, just out of desire and curiosity, then we're beginning to experience at this time, isn't it? Everybody aware of the climate change and the population problems and the decline of civilization, of what we perceived as being civilized. We don't know what we're here for anymore. And so we've developed so much interest and fascination for manipulating conditioned phenomena that we hope eventually we'll be able to solve all problems by manipulating them so that they will fulfill our desires. But that's, even if we can control them even more and make everything better, we still feel this dukkha, or this suffering, the first noble truth. So this is a noble truth, and this word noble, what does that mean? Now, like I've contemplated this, why did the Buddha call suffering a noble truth? Because what's noble about suffering? Then we think, well, we're meant to suffer, and the more we suffer, the more noble we become. That's still self-view, isn't it? That's not true. That we should, be ascetics and kind of beat ourselves and mistreat ourselves, make us suffer even more. And maybe we should make everybody in the society suffer more. Maybe that's what we need here in England. More suffering. So the first noble truth is the more you suffer, the more noble you become. Well, that's ridiculous. So it's not that suffering is noble in itself, but it's a truth. And in order to recognize, to know this truth through insight, you have to turn to it, understand it, investigate. And that's noble, isn't it? Nobility means we're willing to look, to bear with, to rise up to the suffering we're experiencing, looking at it. There's something in me that has to grow up a little more, kind of embrace it and study it and accept my suffering, rather than just run away from it or blame it on others. Like usually it's one suffering is somebody else's fault, isn't it? It's your mother, your father, or your partner, or it's the weather, or the food, or it's the society, or it's always somebody to blame. So we talk about in modern psychology now about the victim attitude of I'm miserable because of my mother, my father, or because I was abused when I was child, or nobody loves me, and so we think I'm a victim. I'm a victim of life because I maybe was born disfigured or some disability. So we can claim, that life hasn't been fair to me. Now this is what we call a victim mentality. Now this gets you nowhere. It just makes you feel that, sorry for yourself, and feel resentment that you didn't get, what you should have gotten according to an ideal. But in a noble truth of suffering, we're not asking for anything, but we're rising up to look at our suffering, our sense of disappointment, or that we are, even the sense of being a victim. We're looking at this Not grasping it and identifying, but recognizing that if I grasp this view that it's not fair that I didn't get the best of the conditions when I was born, that has ruined my life. Say the noble truth of dukkha is, I don't care about that anymore. I'm willing to look at this suffering, of wanting something I don't have, of not wanting life to be the way it is. So there's something noble about that. So this English word noble is, to me, like when I feel noble, like I'm acting in a noble way, I mean I'm willing to rise up and look at something maybe I don't like or don't want. Not to blame it on somebody or to identify with it, but to recognize the nature of conditioned phenomena. And so then this very noble truth allows me to change from just ignoring suffering or blaming it on somebody else or becoming a victim of life. So this is what we mean by noble truths. They aren't ultimate truths. It's not like the ultimate reality is suffering. It's a noble truth that each one of us can use to understand, to develop this awareness, to develop wisdom. Now in Buddhism, wisdom means the ability to discern. It's like, we're in this realm of sensory experience, sense world, sensitivity. So we're constantly being impinged on all the time by conditions. It's hot or cold, or you're tired, or you're feeling good, feeling bad, feeling hungry. You see, hear, smell, taste, touch. What you experience through your senses is changing. And so, we're in what we call the sense realm, sensitive realm, and this is what being born as a human being is about. You're experiencing the reality of sensitivity. And everything, your whole life is an experience of sensitivity. From the time you're born to the time your body dies, this sensitive state is something that is, it's a constant irritant on consciousness. So we would like to have only beautiful things to look at, beautiful sounds, pleasant odors and tastes and all the best of sensory experience. But sensitivity doesn't mean the best, does it? It includes everything from pain to pleasure, from beautiful to ugly to whatever, through the different senses. And so when we reflect on this sensitivity, now if we are just helpless victims of sensitivity, then it is a kind of futile task, just do the best you can, survive somehow. But if you begin to recognize that each one of us has this innate ability to learn from sensitivity, what it is. So that is the only way we can really see and observe and learn from sensitivity is through awareness of it. Otherwise, we're merely reacting to it. We're caught in just reactions, and the sun is out, we're happy, cold and wet, we're depressed.